Hey guys, welcome to another first of the month video. You got both Cowsers here today. How lucky are you if you're brand new? Thanks for checking us out. We talk about all the tough topics dealing with mental health and just the struggles of life. This channel exists for you. If you're not already a subscriber, please consider it. We're always astounded at what percentage of our views come from non-subscribers. So give us a little help over here. Click the bell so you don't miss a thing. Join the family. Join the conversation. We build these videos based on the comments that you guys leave and the messages that you send us on social media. If you're not following already, it's right down here. We're talking finances, and I'm going to shut up here because Megan's way smarter than me. So let's roll that intro and talk finances today. Let's do it.
Alright guys, so we are talking about budgets today, and what is a budget? First of all, don't click off. It is the most important tool that you have to build wealth, to take control of your finances. And in this new year, hopefully one of your goals or one of the things you're thinking about is having more control in your finances as you move forward. So a budget, super simply, is a plan for your money. A budget isn't just for people who are struggling in finances. A budget is for absolutely any person who brings in and or spends money. You need a plan for that money.
And if you're wanting to build wealth, you're wanting to be wealthy and rich, wealthy people budget. They don't play the lottery. Okay? They budget. They tell their money where to go rather than asking where it went. It is painful, just like exercise. But once you get in the flow of it, it feels good. It feels really good.
And if you don't believe us, if you're thinking a budget sounds awful, I don't want to be restricted, I don't want to feel like I can't spend my money, a budget actually does the exact opposite. Instead of feeling like, well, I don't really know if I have money for this, but I'm just going to do it anyway, and having some stress associated with a lot of the purchases you make, a budget gives you permission to spend. A budget is basically you've put money in that category with the purpose of spending it. So you know it's there. You know that it's earmarked for that piece of clothing or that trip or that, piece of camera equipment or whatever. And so spending that money feels good. It feels freeing because you have chosen ahead of time to spend it for that item.
This winter, our family took a month-long trip to Maui, which is ridiculously expensive, but we budgeted for it for 2 years and saved for it. So when we got here, we were just like, yeah, let's get the shave ice. Yeah, let's rent the surfboards. Yeah, let's live it up here because we had the money for it. And we normally would never have done that before.
So how do you make a budget? It feels really complicated, but I'm going to try to show you a really simple way to build a budget. It's called a zero-based budget, which means that you take your income for the month, and that goes at the top, and then you subtract each item that you're planning to spend from that amount until your total is zero, which sounds kind of crazy. But it doesn't mean that you spend every single dollar so that at the end of the month your bank account is at zero. It just means that you make a plan for every dollar. So we're gonna do just a sample budget, really simple. So let's say your income is $1,000.
And let me just interject for a second, because you might be 12 watching this. You might be getting a $5 a month allowance. I don't care if you have no money or you have tons of money. Every single person needs to know how to budget. And so this will look different for every single person, but we're gonna show you the basics of it, and maybe you tuck this away for later, or maybe you're doing this right now because you're swimming in credit card debt.
So I'm gonna go through an example budget for an income of $1,000 a month. And like Noah said, that number is gonna be different for every single person. But just to keep it simple, your income is $1,000 a month. For our family, we have a priority of giving to our church, and so we do that right away. So 10% goes to our tithe, and that's $100. We also have committed to investing each month, and just as a starter for you to start investing, if you're to do $1,000 a month that you bring in, I would recommend investing 15% of that, which is $150 a month. Then you think about, what are those bills that come around once or twice a year? You take that total amount and divide it by 12 and put it in what's called a sinking fund. So for example, let's say that you need to pay your car insurance once a year and your car insurance is $600. If you take $600 divided by 12, then that means your car insurance costs $50 a month. So if you put $50 a month into your savings account, then when that bill comes once a year, you have $600 sitting there ready to pay that bill, so it's not a stress.
That's called winning, my friend. Winning. That feels so good when you pay that big bill and you're like, oh look, I've got a chunk of money that's already allocated. Cha-ching.
Done.
Boom.
Other things that you might have in your monthly spending are maybe some utilities, maybe not, but you likely have some subscriptions that you pay for every month, whether it's an app subscription or Netflix or Hulu or whatever. So however many subscriptions you have, in our sample budget, I put $50 a month to cover subscriptions. Again, that's going to be different depending on what you actually purchase each month. You may be paying for our transportation in some form. Maybe you pay for gas, maybe you pay for oil changes. Figure out approximately how much you spend on that a month. In our sample budget, I did $50 a month to go toward gas. Depending on how much food you like to eat, we have a pretty healthy food budget.
I like to eat food, so we have a lot of money allocated for food.
But if, again, if you're living on campus, if you're living at home, if you find free food somehow all the time,
let me know
good
how.
for you.
Tell me in the comments how you found free food, and we will become fast friends.
But again, figure out about how much that is for you a month. I put $150 down for this budget. Entertainment, that's things like eating out, coffee, movies, going to the amusement park, skiing, whatever. I put $100 a month for that. And again, that you can spend that all this month, or maybe you leave some of it in there for the following month because you have like a ski trip coming up or something and you're gonna need more. You likely have a cell phone bill. I put $75 a month for that. And then if you like to buy clothing sometimes, I put $50 a month for clothing. So that brings us to a grand total of $775. And remember that our total income was $1,000. So we have $225 left. If you have other categories that you need to add, allocate that to those categories. Or if you have debt to pay off, allocate that to your debt. Don't do any big spending or any big investing until you have your debt under control.
And we talked last year how to be debt free. We last year became debt free. We paid off our house. We paid off over $247,000 in debt in 6 years, and we made a video, the two of us, on how we did that, and you can click up here, the little link here, and go back in time to see that. But being debt free is one of the most amazing feelings that you can have, and it's very rare in our culture, and so we want to set you up for success in becoming debt free.
So at the end of this budget, we have $225 left over, and like I said, if you don't have to put it toward debt, if you don't have another category it needs to go into, then it can go into a goal savings account. And this could be saving for a car, saving for a trip, saving towards an emergency fund, which I also would highly recommend. Anything that you're dreaming about that you can see out in your future that you're going to need money, start putting some money aside for it. So when the opportunity for that dream arrives, you're ready.
Maybe you don't even know what you're saving for, but it's hard to start that business, or it's hard to take that trip to Europe, or it's hard to give generously if you have nothing in the bank. So save money. Tighten the screws in your budget. Tighten it down so tight so that you can increase that chunk at the end where you get to give, or you get to save for the future, or invest, or tackle the crap out of the debt that you have racked up in your life.
And I would add, if you're not in debt, you don't need to have the screws so tight that you're not enjoying your everyday life. Again, the budget is permission to spend on the daily. But if you do have some goals that you're working towards, sometimes it's worth, not having that coffee every day so that you can reach those bigger goals. So, Noah, how do you track it?
One of the most important tools is tracking your budget. And in this day and age, we have tons of different apps and tons of different ways in which you can easily and simply track your budget. Even this simple-minded PE teacher from Montana can track his budget on his cell phone. It just took me about 6 months to figure it out, but I got it dialed. We use an app called Every Dollar, and a lot of the resources that we are giving you have been given and taught to us through Ramsey Solutions. If you haven't checked them out, they're amazing. This is not sponsored, but they've changed our life, and so we want to just pay it forward and say they have incredible resources. Links are down below, but we use a free app called Every Dollar, and in Every Dollar you can track literally every dollar. When I use the debit card at the gas pump, I can punch it into our transportation line item on our budget, and we can track it for each month. And it is an incredible tool to keep track of how much money you have left and how much money you have spent, because those are two very important things to know, rather than just swiping and praying that there's enough left in the account. Your budget's gonna change over time. Your habits and your life is going to change over time, and so you're going to need to adapt. Maybe your expenses are extremely low because you're living in your mom's basement right now watching this on a borrowed iPad. Maybe you have a baby in your future. Maybe you have a big life change. Maybe you just lost a job, or maybe you just got a job. That's going to change your budget. And so it's important to be constantly assessing every month and constantly retweaking. It is a fluid tool. It's not a rigid tool, but it is something that needs to be strategically implemented. Like we said, either you tell your money where to go, or you will ask, where in the heck did all it go? When you look at that credit card statement, you'll be like, how did I spend $1,500 last month? It all adds up because you weren't on a budget, bro.
So we would just really encourage you to give it a try. The first month will not be perfect.
It will suck. You will hate it. Just like getting on a treadmill, or don't get on a treadmill. That's the worst. Get outside and run. It'll hurt, just like that first time you laced up your tennis shoes. But it's so worth it. Like everything worthwhile in life, it's a fight. It's a struggle. That's why so many people don't do it and they lose at money. We want you to win. We want you to be happy. We want you to have great relationships, because finance is the #1 reason for divorce. Future-proof your future self and future relationships by starting to budget.
Also, take this opportunity to plan for your future. Like we said, make some savings goals for those dreams that you have or that haven't come along yet, but that you're hoping to chase later on.
And give, be generous, right? This is a new heartbeat of the channel, is generosity. In the last 2 months, we've had generosity campaigns. This month, I just encourage you to budget for generosity. What if you had a $15 a month? That's it. 15 bucks, maybe $5 a month. I don't care. That you actually went and bought a coffee for somebody, or you went and you took your teacher a little gift, because teachers don't get crap from kids, even though they put up with a lot of crap. Anyway, do something. Maybe you got your mom flowers once a month. I don't know. But budget for generosity. That's your challenge this month, and that's what we do, and it's amazing. It's one of the coolest things on the budget. So do it. Continue to comment below and hit us up on Instagram. We love hearing from you guys. This channel exists for you. We'll see you next month.